but very appropriate lead-in right here. I'm Emily Keeley. I'm the Executive Director of Naturally Austin, and I'm thrilled today to have Jennifer Cobb Moynihan from Elevate Communications and Tim Kraus from Mammoth Creameries here to talk about tough conversations that we've been having, especially during these times. We are also going to be managing the chat. We also want to turn on the video so we can start to see everyone. The best way to do that is we're going to make you guys panelists. So we're going to invite you guys to join on. You don't have to turn on your video, but the way we wanted to do it was so we could interact, see your faces, and not worry so much. There we go. See?
And there we go. Yay!
We love this. So, and I wanted to highlight, like, this is audio on, video on, having all the conversations, the kids, the cats. I've got kids running around, a cat here. I think we said yesterday, guys, kids, cats, tears, and anything else we can I think support the humanity of what's going on right now. So I'm gonna turn this over to Jennifer, and thank you guys for being here.
Hey everyone, how are you doing? What I thought we'd start out with is just a quick poll, couple questions for you guys. The thing about this particular conversation that Tim and I wanted to do was make it more like a group support conversation, like being open and transparent about some of the things that everyone's going through. So please don't feel like there's going to be an end of the session Q&A. Please chime in, please share your experiences, because it's going to be way more interesting for all of us. And we have a decent enough size group that it's pretty easy to manage. Just some quick background. My work is with leaders and founders and their communication styles, and a lot of times lately, a lot of my conversations around what are some of the difficult conversations that companies are having to have. And I asked Tim to join me because he brings in the perspective of a CEO of a company that's actually dealing with a lot of these issues and questions. So at any point, you want to ask Tim a question, you want to ask me a question, chime in, because we would much prefer a conversation versus just he and I doing a back and forth. It's not nearly as interesting, although, Planes on Fire is always interesting. Tim, you want to go and introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Tim Kraus, the CEO of Mammoth Creameries. So I'm the CEO, but really, I'm certainly not above stocking the vending machine in the break room when we did have an office before COVID. And yeah, it's super glad to be here. Super glad to have this conversation. Certainly will not have all of the answers, but hopefully, my goal here is just to share some of the, the real struggles that we're going through every single day, and hopefully some of you can relate to that, and we'll be able to share a little bit of wisdom, guidance, or just failures that got us where we are today. So yeah.
So the first question I have for the group in terms of a poll is, I would love to know, for those of you that are actually manufacturing product, how many of you, and you can even just raise your hands if it's faster, have had to change your production approach? Like some people, very small, were working. I see Nico has had to change his production approach. Anybody else? It would just be helpful, even if you want to just do on the Zoom chat and raise your hands. Second question, who has had to hire because they've seen a lot of growth, or bring in new employees to help manage what's happening? Nico has. Anybody else? Max has. Great. Well, we know that those are some of the things that are creating some interesting challenges in businesses right now. Last question, who has had major changes in their home life? And I mean, if you've had someone move in with you, you've had to change where you live, you've had to change what you're doing in your home, those are all things that add stresses. I'm sure everyone has, but just generally, if you've had something unusual greater than just the normal having to deal with kids and schools and such. I don't see anybody. Okay, good thing. So kind of the first thing that Tim and I wanted to talk about are, some of the tough decisions that companies are having to make right now in terms of how they're thinking about their consumer play and how they're having to deal with vendors and distributors, and it kind of goes back to that whole production approach. And Tim, it would be great if you would chime in here and talk about a little bit about, you mentioned before, literally having to wait as the whole industry is